What's going on YouTube? It's your girl Mercedes, Sadie's gang. You feel me? The gang, because we don't come with no price tag, period. Anyways, y'all, I'm back with another little reaction video. Why nobody respects Will Smith. Now, I heard recently there was some allegations going on. I don't know, but we gonna get straight into it and figure out what's been happening with Mr. Will. Anyways, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to get like Prince. That's the homie right there. He's putting in the work, putting in all that effort and everything. So, you know what I mean? Go support him, you know what I'm saying? And let's just get straight into the video, y'all. I'm very curious to see what's even going on here, because I'm like, oh.
Will Smith is a real interesting character. The man's life been full of nothing but chaos over these past few years, if we're gonna be honest. And whether it's his wife getting cracked by another man while they were still legally married, him smacking Chris Rock, even right now, Will Smith getting some crazy allegations thrown on right now. He getting sued over some harassment allegations. Point is, this man's life been real chaotic lately.
I see.
Now we all know who Will Smith is. I ain't gotta explain none of that. He probably one of the most recognized.
Wait a minute. Does this fool, is he in the cyberpunk apartment? Yo, I just beat this game. Okay, I'm sorry. That's crazy. I swear, I think this is it. Cyberpunk apartment? That's wild. Hey, that's a fire background though.
People faces in America. I promise you, you can show anybody a picture of Will Smith, they gon' recognize. But Will Smith done had a lot of issues over the years. It's a lot that the world don't really know about Will Smith, or situations that people didn't even know he was a part of. Like, yeah, Will been this huge movie star for a long time. He been famous since the 80s, basically. But that don't mean everything was just smooth sailing. If we go back to when he was first acting, when he was first trying to transition from musician toward Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, we will have Will Smith in troubles. Not troubles with another man, not troubles with a game, but troubles with the IRS. He fell into problems we see a lot of rich people fall into when they're young. Young and rich, a lot of people fall into this. He owed the IRS millions because he getting his money from making his music, so he get to splurging. He buying the houses, he buying the cars, he buying, you know what I mean? He buying everything, but he ain't paying the IRS their money. Now, he didn't go to prison over it like Wesley Snipes, for example, but IRS wasn't playing with Will Smith. They was taking everything that man had. They done took all the cars. They took the houses. He was getting paid. Anytime a check came, IRS took the majority of it. So he was broke. He was famous and broke. And it was like he just went from making all of this money. Well, no.
I know that sucks, making all that money and then you famous and broke because you owe the IRS. I mean, dude, how do you take care of that?
He was still making all of this money. It just wasn't going in his pocket. So eventually he get to doing the Fresh Prince, but the majority of his checks for the first few seasons was going to that, paying off the IRS. Basically, Will Smith being broke led him to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. CNBC would write this:
I'm quitting nicotine for good, and I want you to join me with...
Tired of seeing Smith mope at the time, his girlfriend talked him into hanging out on the set of a show in hopes that he'd find an opportunity that would boost his career. Reluctantly, he obliged, and it was there he says that he met Benny Medina, the real life Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So he gets on this show, and it's not like, oh, he on the show and it's smooth sailing again. There was problems, a lot of conflict behind the scenes that people don't really know about. And it's something that still affects him to this day because he done came out and said that himself. So think back to the Fresh Prince. You remember the character Vivian Banks. She was played by Janet Hubert for seasons 1 through 3. And then in the later seasons, her character would have an actor change. It wasn't just, oh, I don't want to do this no more. It was a lot deeper than that. And a lot of that was pointing directly at Will Smith.
I thought it was just like, you know, a little swap. I didn't know. Okay.
This woman claims that Will Smith basically tarnished her name, tarnished her entire career, her entire reputation. So during the time of filming this show, Janet was low-key tweaking out. She was kind of hard to be around. People, they would go do these shoots. Everybody felt like she was a problem. Will Smith felt like she was a problem. She was hard to be around, hard to work with. She wanted everything to revolve around her. He said himself that she was an asshole. And so for a while, people just assumed that she was on set, she was this asshole, she was hard to work with, hard to just be around. Until recently, where she would talk about this and she would actually explain what was going on. She would explain what started this 30-year war between her and Will Smith, because it wasn't just, oh, I'm having a bad day on set or I was having a bad month. It was a lot deeper than that. Vanity Fair would write this: Hubert explained that she was pregnant while filming the show's 3rd season and was also stuck in an abusive relationship on set. She said, I was no longer laughing, smiling, joking because there were things that were going on that nobody knew about. The cast had no idea what was going on. Then not only that, but contract problems. According to her, she was offered a bad deal during season 3 of the show. She said that they told her she had 2 months and 2 weeks of work. and you can't work nobody else. That meant my salary was because I had a new baby and a husband who was out of work. So I said, no, I didn't accept the offer. I was never fired. The misconception that was put out there was I was trapped. What could I do? So they said,
That's fucked up. That's low-key messed up. Come on, y'all. She just had a baby. Y'all couldn't give her like a solid contract? Something? Goodness.
we're gonna recast your role. And I said, what could I say? I was hurt deeply. This is what we know now. But people didn't know this at the time. People didn't know that she was pregnant. People didn't know that she had this abusive relationship going on at home. Nobody knew. All people knew was she on set acting crazy. What you can't blame these people on set for feeling away because, you coming on here and you acting crazy, you hard to be around. I get that you got shit going on, but you gotta think of it as like a human. Like you at work. Your coworker come to work every day being an asshole, treating you all kind of way. You gonna feel a way about that. And Will Smith felt the way about that. And this is when the beef would spark up between her and Will Smith. And it wasn't just, oh, we arguing on set. Will Smith was doing whole interviews, radio interviews, talking about this woman. He would say, I can straight up say that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel Air show because I know she was gonna dog me in the press. She basically gone from $250,000 a year to nothing. She mad now, but she's been mad all along. She said once, I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets the show. Will said,
Oh no.
Snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets the show.
Aunt Viv. Yo, you gotta chill.
You gotta chill.
Like, that's actually crazy to even say about your coworker. That you're, oh wow. Okay. That was crazy. She's straight up talking her on Will.
and no matter what, to her, I'm just the antichrist. And with Will, low-key, well, not even low-key, he was really this big pushing factor toward her kind of getting off the show. And when she got kicked off the show and when didn't re-sign that contract and all of this backlash started coming her way, she put the blame on Will. But it wasn't just like, oh, it was Will's fault I got took off the show. She blamed Will for her entire downfall. After she got kicked off the show, she had no income. Her family left her. Hollywood disowned her. Everybody basically looked at her and was like, damn, you're shunned from the industry. You shunned from the family. A couple years ago, when the show would do like a reunion with the original cast, she would come out and she would say this: when I left the show, I had this baby on the way. No one. My family disowned me. Hollywood disowned me. My family said that you've ruined our name. She said, talking to Will Smith. And I wasn't unprofessional on the set. I just stopped talking to everybody because I didn't know who to trust, because I had been banished. And they said it was you who banished me because you were Will. You were a kid. It was hard. And around the time of this reunion that came out a couple years ago, Will would speak on the situation. And this is why I say it's still something that he regrets to this day. He would speak on how he would have did things differently if he would have had the knowledge he has now. If he would have seen the signs that, you know, it was something going on with her. He would say, I made a horrible error and misjudged her value, power, and beauty in the show. I horribly underestimated what she was for me at that point in my life. So Will might have did what...
I mean, I feel like, okay, maybe it could be like, I wouldn't say both parts, but like, girl, you should have informed people. You know, I know it's not, I know some people say it might not be other people's business, but you know, you gotta kind of inform people that you going through something, or you pregnant or whatever, if you're gonna have all these mood swings. Because I'm like, Aunt Viv, you was saying some mean, you was being mean. I ain't gonna lie, that was crazy. But to see Will, you know, correct himself, you know, I'm like, okay, like, he didn't know, you know what I mean? He didn't know, so should.
He did back in the day, but he apologizes for it now. He's like, damn, you know, I wish I would have treated it different, which I get. And before I keep going on, make sure you join the Discord. Link is on screen right now and at the top of the description. If you want to come give me video ideas, just be a part of the community, talk to me, anything, you might as well join.
That's a bad.
It's free. Will Smith and Jada, his wife, they got a real interesting relationship, a weird one. Whether it's them turning into an open marriage while they were still together, or it was his wife basically yearning for Tupac the whole time she was with Will Smith. This marriage done brought so much controversy to not only Will, but to both of their lives. Controversies that Will probably can't come back from, if we're gonna be honest. To start, Jada ain't no regular person. She been in the industry for a long time. She been around just like how Will been around. But before she had this relationship with Will, she was with Tupac, a relationship that she kind of became overly obsessed with throughout the entire time of her and Will being together. She was
completely
with Will, but
agree.
she was thinking, damn, why my nigga Tupac? What if he was alive? And then it like
I agree with him.
I'm just pulling this out of my ass. She basically done confirmed this many times over the years that she still has deep feelings for Tupac. Back in 2023, she was doing an interview speaking on Tupac and called the man her soulmate. In an interview with Rolling Out, Jada Smith called Tupac her quote-unquote soulmate, even though they were never more than friends. When asked if there was such a thing as a soulmate friendship, Pinkett Smith said absolutely. It said that the romanticized idea of a soulmate isn't the only way such a connection can form. If there is such a thing as past lives, I definitely think Tupac and I would have traveled a few together. Keep in mind, she's still married to Will Smith. This is after the Chris Rock slap. This is after the August Alsina situation. And she says, if there's a such thing as past lives, I definitely think that Tupac and I have traveled a few together. I wouldn't be married to no woman saying that shit. And they asked her if she had any regrets about not taking the connection with Tupac beyond the friendship. She replied it just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us. So not only was his wife basically obsessed with Tupac since he passed away, but remember what I said. They had this whole open marriage thing going on. So at the same time, the world is hearing about Jada and Tupac. We're hearing about Jada making Will Smith seem like the biggest clown. We're hearing about her getting with August Alsina. I dropped a video on that during the summer, and I really dove into this in detail. Basically, August Alsina and Jada, they start messing around, and he got too deep in. And I mean so deep to the point where it was like, you know, you in high school, you got your first love, they break up with you, you get to tweaking. That's how August Alsina was acting as a grown man. Him and Jada, they stopped messing around, and they got to a point where the nigga told me, I can't function. He was like, look, I gave this woman everything. I gave her my life. He said I put everything I could into a relationship with a married woman. Nigga, that's a rookie mistake. Why is you putting your all into this married woman?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been in that situation, but that's not my life. Or at least I wouldn't have over-invested myself into this married woman. So,
Or just don't mess with a married woman at all. I mean, shit, just don't mess with her. If you find out she's married, don't mess with her to begin with, because that's just nothing but trouble. Like, I'm sorry.
much so to the point where
It really
I'm attached
is.
and just can't function no more. He would say I devoted myself
He
to it. I
was
gave my
kinda-
full self to it. So much so to the point that I can die right now and be okay with knowing that I truly gave myself to somebody. So much so that being intertwined in that way, walking away from it, butchered me. I'm shaking right now because it almost killed me. Not almost, it did. It pushed
Yeah, he needed to get away from her. She was low key like, if she got him doing all this, he needed to get away.
me into being another person. My newer self, it broke me down. I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformations from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times. And it's not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life. I ain't gonna lie, that is a crazy situation. It's hard to feel bad though. Shit, nigga, she was married. Streets did not tell you to get that deep in with a married woman. But keep in mind, all of this was happening in 2020, 2019. When the rumors started to come out, all people knew was Will Smith was letting his wife get crushed by another man and he was just cool with it. And honestly, that is still kind of the case. But with August saying Will Smith gave him permission, it don't really make it no better. But like they both agreed to, Jada and Will said they are not together. They're just married. But at the same time, Jada was out doing her own thing with these other men. Will Smith claims he was on the same time. But this was still affecting him because one day they were doing an interview, him and Jada, they speaking on the situation. She telling them, oh yeah, August was crushing. Then we got Will and bro crying.
Oh my gosh, I remember this. I remember this whole entire interview. And seeing him cry like that, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I don't. If anything, he shouldn't have even done the interview or even like got to that topic or whatever, because yeah, it's the whole like world seen it, so
Tears. He was crying tears in front of the world. They made it into a meme. They love making crying black men into memes, but we ain't getting into that. But this happens. This was probably the biggest stain on Will Smith's career. A lot of people will never look at him the same after how this situation went down with August and Jada and Tupac. People look at Will Smith and they just got this narrative surrounding him.
How you think they looking at me? Look how we look at Will. Y'all see,
I know
you
he
know how
tired
you
of
look
it.
at Will. Like a weenie.
Why is he still in there?
Will's
She's clearly
tired.
shitting on him.
You got a secret on this nigga?
Ain't no different than a nigga that whoop his bitch and the woman stay with the man that whoop her. She she don't like the ass whooping, but she love him enough to take the ass whooping. That's love. Love ain't about what you can give, nigga. Love is about what you can take. So shit, man, no. He love that hoe.
But that wasn't the only time she would have Will Smith looking a little crazy. I'm guessing during the time between the August situation and the Oscars, him and Jada would get back together. And I'm saying this because remember when Oscar time would come around, him and Chris Rock, they in there. Chris Rock on stage, he cracking jokes about Jada. I know y'all remember the slap. Nigga, that shit was iconic. People are never gonna forget that. He was trolling.
Yeah, I think I honestly thought, like, when this happened live, I thought this was some type of skit or just like something completely fake. I did not know it was even real. It was wild.
He was trolling Jada. Basically, bro was like, look, I can't wait to see you in the J.I. Jane 2 sequel. And the joke was Jada was bald. The character from the movie was bald. But Jada ain't really bald by choice. She has alopecia. So she was just like, damn, it's no point in me growing this hair if it's just gonna keep falling out. So she just cut it off. And it was probably something real sensitive to her because, I mean, this is a condition she can't control. She's definitely like feeling away about it. Anybody would. Hell, if I had that, I'd be feeling away too. But Chris Rock making this joke, Will Smith seen it. He felt the way. He really felt the way because he didn't get on stage and just smack that nigga. He said, bro, stop playing with my wife. Now, me personally, I'm not going to smack no nigga after my girl went and fucked a whole nother man and told the entire world about it. I ain't smacking no man for her. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's crazy. But he smacked the man over Jada. And he was like, look, don't talk about my wife like that. That shit ain't funny. And when he did this, it was probably one of the most viral moments of 2022. And it was crazy. The whole world was seeing it. If I remember right, y'all know, like, people in China, they got TikTok, but it's like Chinese TikTok. It's real strict. It was so viral that even them niggas over there was recreating the slap, making Chinese skits over this Will Smith Chris Rock slap. It was that viral. And at the time of Will doing that, he probably felt good. He was probably thinking, yeah, bro, I'm sticking up for my wife. And at the end of the day, I do think it was a bad idea because this happened and like the world kind of split in half. We had one half that was saying, damn, why would you go and hit this man over a joke? And then we got the other hand that's supporting him. They're like, look, Will Smith just defending his wife. He did what he needed to do. And at first, when it happened, Jada was real iffy on the situation. She wasn't in full support of what Will did. But at the same time, she was really claiming she didn't understand what was truly going on. But as the years that went on, she would speak about it more and more. And it's at a point now where she speaks on it in a positive way. She says it brought them closer together. So he slaps Chris Rock. And yeah, he got backlash. Yeah, he got all this controversy. Hell, he probably got fined $10 million. Ain't no telling how much them Oscars fined him for that. She was like, it was bad at first, but now that I look at it, I appreciate what Will did. She would say it wasn't just about me. I'm gonna be okay, I'm used to that. But the idea of making a joke around a condition that people have no control over. And I've heard some of the most heartbreaking stories of kids who done self-ended because of alopecia. And I was just beside myself. And at that time, I just didn't feel like faking it. I just wasn't okay with that. But at the end of the day, the internet is still divided on this situation. Not on if Will Smith was right on slapping Chris Rock or not, but if Jada was the right person to do this over. A lot of people are saying that Jada wasn't worth all that. She wasn't worth the controversy, worth the backlash. And I feel like if this was another woman that Will Smith was with, the entire conversation would have been completely different. And we all know this. But since it was Jada, and since we done heard all the little weird stuff that Jada done put Will through, the stuff that Will done put her through, people are kind of like, was that really worth it? But all of this leads us to 2025, a real interesting year for Will Smith. A year full of him, I'm not gonna say being in true controversy, but he kind of became a walking meme. Remember this period. Remember, he was always making music, but 2025, he would decide to truly get back into it. And he pushing it heavy. He doing the tour, he dropping albums. Remember, he was doing them streams with Playboy Max and everything. Had the whole Lyrical Lemonade shows going on. Point is, he was rapping. People just turned him into a meme. But that meme was gonna be the last thing on his mind, if we be honest. Because yeah, he did restart his music career, but at the end of the year, it had something in store for him. Allegations in December of last year. A man would come out with some real bad allegations against Will Smith. A man named Brian King Joseph, where he says he went on tour with Will Smith as his violinist and problems would start. It was real strange situations that he was put into. Article would write, an alleged traumatic series of events happened back in March 25 amid Smith's tour, in which Joseph claims that he discovered that someone had entered his hotel room with no signs of being forced entry. Evidence of quote-unquote a sexual threat of violence allegedly included a handwritten note saying, Brian, I'll be back, just us, with the drawn heart and signed Stone F as well.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no, boo. I hope he had got out of that room as soon as he saw that. Oh, fuck no. More concern, like, How the fuck did somebody get access to my hotel room?
Well as wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, and a bottle of HIV medication with another person's name on it, an earring, and a hospital discharge paperwork belonging to a person unbeknownst to Joseph. Joseph alleges that he feared an unknown individual would soon return to his room to engage in sexual acts. In the complaint, it claims that Will Smith was quote-unquote deliberately grooming and priming Mr. Joseph for further sexual exploitation.
Crazy.
They snuck into your room and brought some wipes, a beer bottle, book bag, hospital paperwork, and some HIV meds. They just don't make sense to me. What does this mean? Why the medicine? And why did you point out the earring?
Poor
So
soul.
Joseph's scared. He goes to the hotel and he goes to the authorities. He's like, look, bro, I'm scared. Things up here being weird. So the hotel tell Joseph, they're like, well, the only people that have access to your room is you and the people a part of the team. And so he goes and he reports this, and after the situation, after the complaint, Joseph will get dropped from the tour. Joseph claims that they shamed him for doing what he did, and when Will Smith and his team would respond, they would say it wasn't no real proof of any of this. They all saying it was made up because
Very shady to me. I don't know. You can't just make something like that up. I don't know.
nothing was ever verified on his end. Will Smith's attorney would say this: Joseph's accusations concerning my client are false, baseless, and reckless. They are categorically denied, and we will use all legal means available to address these claims and ensure that the truth is brought to light.
Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry. So I was excited, proud of myself for getting the opportunity. But the reason why I'm speaking out about this is because getting fired or getting blamed or shamed or threatened or anything like that, simply for reporting misconduct or safety threats at work, is not okay. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there who have been afraid to speak up, and I understand. And if that's you, I see you. And that's pretty much it. More updates to come soon. Thanks for listening.
I'm still on this though. This don't make sense. What does this have to do with Will Smith? Will Smith, okay, it was his team, but how do you even know Will Smith went to your room? How do you know Will Smith did any of this? Why the fuck would they leave this medicine in the room? It's just not making sense to me. I'm not saying that this person's lying about what happened, but shit, you watching my video and get my opinion. It don't make.
I mean, I can understand what he's saying too, because it's like, it could have been anybody. You know what I mean? Out of the whole team, it could have been anyone, Could have been Will, could have been anybody else, who knows, you know what I mean? Unless there's actual evidence, camera footage, something. I mean, right now, I'm not saying like he's lying, I do believe him, but I don't know, it might be somebody else in the team, I don't know. That's kind of rough. That's a hard case right there.
Sense to me, but this ain't the first time we done heard little weird allegations through on Will Smith. Now, what I'm about to speak about,
this whole situation is weird.
Old. Basically, Will Smith's former assistant will come out saying that he walked in on Dwayne Martin and Will Smith getting busy. And he said this on the interview. It was a whole big situation.
And then I saw sexual acts that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Dwayne Martin. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, but I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy at? So now I'm holding Dwayne down too, so I have the keys to his dressing room. All right, I open the door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having sex with Will. There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up, killing him. Murder. It was murder.
I don't even, yeah. What the fuck?
I don't know, Will Smith, I feel like his career,
I
his
think he
life
was
is
on
in a
that
real
show, I'm pretty sure.
He had a lot of dark stuff going on. It's a whole dark side to Will, like the title says, that we don't really know. The whole situation with Janet, the whole situation with his wife, smacking Chris Rock. It's a lot going on when it comes to Will Smith. We got these new allegations getting put on him that we got to see what they turn into. But what about y'all? How do y'all feel about Will Smith? What do y'all think about all of this?
Oh, what is going on? Like my mom always tells me, you never know a person truly until you actually know them, or until you actually see who they truly are. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how this whole allegation goes. So anyways, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed it. What do you guys think about this video, Will Smith and all these especially this particular allegation with this hotel. Let me know in the comment section, because I was low-key freaked out about that one, and the last part with Dwayne Martin. I'm just like, okay, so please like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna go like hide in a corner somewhere after hearing that. Need to take a nap or something. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna catch y'all in another freaking video. Deuces. Oh my god.